Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabrielle and I decided to do my analysis on the couple Joe and Love from the show You. So to start off, some background information if you guys don't know who they are. Joe and Love are the two main characters of the show. Joe is a sociopathic bookstore manager from New York who's trying to escape his sinister past, and Love is a produce store manager and an aspiring chef from Los Angeles who is still grieving the loss of her husband. And throughout the show, you see Joe's lust for love turn to obsession as he tries to leave the past that he has in New York while trying to create a new future for himself in Los Angeles. So one of the theories that I noticed throughout the show was interpersonal deviation theory, and that can be defined as a theory that explains deception as a process based on falsification, concealment, or equivocation. So what that means is that person can either choose not to tell the truth, they can conceal themselves from the truth, or they can just change the subject entirely. And I noticed this a few times. One of the times was whenever Love and Joe first encounter each other, and when she asks what his name is, he tells her that his name is Will Bettelheim and not Joe Goldberg. So right off of the start, he's starting off their relationship off with a lie. I also saw it whenever Love asked Joe why he doesn't want a relationship with her. He tells her that he's simply just scared. Flat out, he's just scared. But the audience knows that the truth is much deeper in that, which is that he has actually killed a lover before and he doesn't want that past to repeat itself with Love. So he lied to her and he concealed himself. I also saw uncertainty reduction theory, which is defined as a theory that states that individuals learn more about each other by monitoring their social environment. So what this means is that when a person wants to get close to another person, in order to have their uncertainty about that person decrease, they try to find out more information about them so that they can predict their future behavior. And I saw this again a few times throughout the show, and I saw it whenever Love invited Joe out to a lunch date with her friends and he declined. So while ever she was out to lunch with her friends, he actually followed her and was listening to their conversations, seeing how she talked about him, listening to what her friends had to say. He went through her friends' social medias whenever he heard their names, and in doing this, he was able to decrease that uncertainty about her. He also uses a telescope to watch Love through his window. He sees like who comes and goes from her house. He tracks down like what her routine is, so that way he knows where she'll be and when. And again, in doing this, he's able to decrease that uncertainty that he has about her. I also saw reflected appraisal theory, which is a theory that states that the self a person presents is in large part based off the way others categorize that individual, the roles they expect him or her to play, and the behaviors that they expect him or her to exhibit. So what this is saying is pretty much however a person is expected to act based on how others see them, that's how they act. It's like playing a part. And obviously Joe does this a lot in Los Angeles, considering he's playing the part of Will Bettelheim and not Joe. So whenever Love and Joe are at Love's family gathering, he has to continue to play this part of Will because that's who she was introduced to. That's who she introduces him as to her parents, her brother. He has to play this part of Will and not Joe. But there comes trouble with this whenever his ex-girlfriend Candace shows up and is also pretending to be somebody else in order to try and get revenge on him. So now, while having to balance playing the part of Will, he also has to balance playing the part of Joe whenever he's around Candace. I also saw lots of trust in this series, especially whenever, the definition is that the belief that one can rely on another, made up of two components, trusting behavior and trustworthy behavior. Now, I saw this whenever Love, at the end of this season, confesses her dark past to him. And that is that her and her twin brother, 40, when they were younger, had an au pair who was a sexual predator. She took matters into her own hands and she ended up killing the au pair, and she staged it to make it look like a suicide. This showed a lot of trust because she trusted him that he was not going to go to the police and tell them the truth, but it also showed that she trusted that this wouldn't change his opinion of her. And then lastly, there was Machiavellianism, which is the drive to control others. And this is a big one because at the very end of the season, whenever Joe is locked in his chamber that he uses to keep his victims, Love is on the outside. So for once, he's the prey and she's the predator. She tells him that she knows everything when he's locked in this chamber. She tells him that she knows that he's been watching her, that he's been following her. She knows it all, and she knew it from the very beginning. She also confesses to him that she was the one who killed Delilah and Candace because they got in the way of the future that she wanted to have with Joe. And she did this because she's pregnant. She doesn't want Joe to leave because he was going to run away. But she also wants him to believe that they're the same. And this shows a ton of control that she has over Joe, because he does end up staying. I don't agree with some of the ways they communicated, but it was effective for them since they were basically the same person. Since they both were trying to escape a dark past they both had, I understand the way that they communicated, but I also feel that a lot of drama could have been avoided if Joe had simply told the truth and showed more trust that Love had shown in him. And thank you for listening.